Hello everyone, welcome back to another Infinite Flight video. Today we're at Paris Orly and we're going to be catching a flight with Eastern Airways on board their ATR 72 to Southampton. Let's go. On the way to gate D24, I realised I lost my boarding pass whilst trying to organise my camera gear. Fortunately, this wasn't too much of an issue though, as I managed to get a new one printed at the gate. With the new boarding pass secured, let's get it scanned and head down to the shuttle bus which will be driving us across the airport to our plane. For some people, being bused to an aircraft can be a real pain, but for an av geek on the other hand, I think it's safe to say that this is our favourite way to board. Check out these amazing close-ups. Here's our aircraft for today, Golf Charlie Mike Echo India, a 9-year-old ATR 72-600. This is my first time on an aircraft like this, so I'm really excited to see what it's like and take you all along for the ride. What's also very interesting is the aircraft's history. It's only 9 years old and it's already flown for airlines like Avianca, Ergo Capital and Green Africa Airways before being leased to Eastern Airways in April 2022. What's also quite cool is that the aircraft still wears the Green Africa Airways livery. Let's hop on board. The cabin actually seems quite modern and clean, though I would like to point out how small this plane is. I didn't manage to get a clip of it, but my head was more or less touching the ceiling. Here's my home for the next hour, seat 3A. Pretty good window alignment here, given that I have 2 windows to myself which offer a great view. Anyway, it's time for a quick update from the captain.
We want to apologise for the delay. We had a traffic control slot time out of Southampton this morning, and the bad news is we've been given a slightly worse one out of Paris back to London airspace as well, which is looking like it's about 45 minutes from now. So we have put a ready message in, and hopefully they can bring that time for departure forward for us.
As you heard, the flight was delayed for around 45 minutes. This was due to the French ATC strikes on this particular day. The crew did, however, come around with some small bottles of water for all of the passengers whilst we waited, which was nice. Anyway, let's skip to the push and start.
Pass the tapes around your waist and tie in a double knot on your left-hand side. To inflate, pull firmly downwards on the red toggle. Do not inflate until outside the aircraft, as this may impede your exit.
There we go, the engines are up and running. Let's head out to the runway for takeoff. Well, that was quite a blinding takeoff, apologies for that, the sun was at a very awkward angle. I'm not quite sure what I was expecting sitting this close to an exposed engine, but wow, this plane is very, very loud. Loud enough to the point where I almost had to put my fingers in my ears. Right, let's quickly have a look around the seats area. As I mentioned earlier in the video, the cabin generally feels quite clean and modern, despite this tray table that's definitely seen better days. The legroom, honestly, isn't great at all. I guess the curvature to the seat back is supposed to give you extra room, but for me, that didn't really make much of a difference. The seat itself is definitely comfortable enough for these short hops, and it even reclines, though I'm not sure why you'd recline when the person behind you is probably already lacking space anyway. The tray table is just your standard small adjustable tray table. Not too much to report here. Next up is the safety card, which interestingly enough stated that it was strictly for this aircraft only. I thought that it would be some sort of generic ATR one, but clearly not. If anyone knows why this is, feel free to let us know in the comments. There was also an Eastern Airways Altitude magazine, which had one page in particular that any av geek would find interesting. Here's the airline's entire fleet and route network. If I'm being completely honest with you all, I went into this flight completely blind, similar to the Scandinavian Airlines video a while back here on this channel. By this, I mean when I am flying with a new airline on a new aircraft, I personally refuse to watch any videos online so that I can fully enjoy the experience and give you my genuine first impressions right off the bat. Service time. Let me tell you, I was quite shocked with Eastern Airways. In a good way, of course. After takeoff, the crew member kicked off the service with a hot towel. A hot towel in economy? What's going on here? I really didn't expect this at all. Shortly after, the crew member passed through the cabin with a complimentary food and drink service. This consisted of tea or coffee and some shortbread. While it's not anything special, I simply didn't expect this on such a short, low-key flight. Honestly, so far so good. I'm impressed. Now, let's take a look at the fare types while we cruise along at just 14,000 feet. The three fare types are value, standard, or flexible. For this flight, I booked the standard fare as I had two bags with me, one of which I could take on board and the other that had to be checked in and put into the hold. Selecting the standard fare slightly discounted the premium seats, which on the ATR 72-600 arose 1 to 3. The sole reason I booked this particular seat was for the awesome view out of the window. Honestly, I think that's the only perk to this seat. Check out the ice forming on the air intakes and the leading edge of the wing. Anyway, with that said, we've already started our bumpy descent and it's time to buckle up for landing. Be sure to let us know what you think of the landing down below. That was honestly a really nice landing, although it was one wheel at a time. It felt very smooth. All in all, the flight exceeded my expectations. The crew were friendly, the service was nice, and the seat was comfortable. The only nitpick I have is the slight delay, but that's nothing to do with the airline at all. Would I recommend this airline? Sure, I don't see why not. I'd definitely consider flying with them again. The flight was cool and I had a brilliant first experience on the ATR 72-600. If you've enjoyed this video, then of course be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new around here. What are your thoughts on the ATR? We'd love to hear them. With that said, thank you for sticking around and we'll see you in the next one.